Hyde Park, some students when I was over there.
Yes.
Let's see where. That's my Boy Scout.
Okay.
That's when I was in the Navy.
Okay.
Let's see what else I got over here. That's me and Jewel.
Okay.
Big picture of us together.
Good. And this one right here. Oh, that's where you're on the city council.
Yeah.
Place 4. The Gideon. Got those. And then I come down to.
This is the family book
Oh.
that
Okay.
that Georgia and Carol put together. It got our history from all of, and then it got,
Amazing.
that's about me. That's my section. They got every one of the sisters and brothers,
Yes.
what they were doing, and Georgia. She's in a nursing home in Arlington.
Okay.
She'll be 90 in April, last of April.
Wow.
So the two oldest ones are still living.
Yes,
And
sir.
the two younger girls, Carol is 75 and Wanda is 77.
Okay.
So the two oldest ones and the two youngest ones, youngest girls, they're the only ones left out of now 10.
Now he said he asked you if he could join the Boy Scouts. And so you said, "Oh no." You remember that?
No.
Because I sure wanted to ask you about that. But anyway, we're here, and I thank you so much for just accepting this and allowing me to come to your home and to interview you on your life, your accomplishments, and just whatever you want to say about your life. I'm going to ask some things, and if something that you think I might have left out or I might have left out, you can elaborate on that. But I just want to know, we're going to go from the beginning up to now. And so what I first want to know is, I know right now you're how old?
91.
91 years old. And then I remember you when I was in elementary school, and I'm going to ask you some things about what you thought about me too. Because I know you know how I was in school. But when you were born here in Denison, right?
That's right.
Yes, and your parents were?
Troy D. Sr. and Carrie McKnight.
Carrie McKnight. And then just right over, did your family always live right over there on, what is that, what's that, Johnson Street? What is the street?
First we lived on Elm Street where Dr. Franklin's house.
Oh, okay.
We lived there for a while.
Yes, sir.
And then we moved on Johnson Street.
Okay.
700 block. And then we moved from there to Barrett Avenue.
Okay. And then that's where you graduated and all that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I remember, the only thing I remember is the house right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you had how many brothers and sisters? You have?
Let's see, there were 10 of us. There were five boys and four girls.
Yes, sir. So how many of you are?
There are 4 of us left. I'm the oldest of the 10.
Of the 10. Wow. The oldest of the 10.
Right.
And so when you went to, did you go to Terrell School always?
Oh yeah. I first went to Anderson School.
Yes, sir.
Elementary, right across the old West Church, right on that.
Oh, yes, sir.
There was a big 2-story brick building there.
Yes, sir.
I went there for 7 years. And then I graduated from the 7th grade there. Then I went to Terrell High School.
Okay. Wow. Anderson to Terrell.
Right.
Now, when you were a little boy, what was your ambition as far back as you can remember? Did you intend to be a teacher? Did you think about being in the church? Or have you been in the church, going to church all your life? But first, about your ambitions. What did you think about being when you were a little boy?
I didn't think whether I thought anything.
Uh-huh.
When I planned to be, I didn't plan to be a teacher.
Wow.
I hadn't planned on that.
Yes, sir.
That's the way it turned out. When I got ready to go to college, well, I said, well, but I'm going to take a course that has industrial education,
Mm-hmm.
because I learned a little electricity, a little woodwork, and things like that. I said, certainly I could find a job in one of those areas. That's what I had in mind when I went to college.
Yes, sir.
And so I majored in industrial education.
And that was like when you taught the wood shop and all that, because you taught wood shop in Terrell, right?
Yeah, because I took wood shop in that course I took at college.
Yes, sir.
Industrial education.
Wow.
And so since that was on my transcript, well, they let me teach one class,
Yes, sir.
and the rest of it was math.
Well, yeah, we know about that math, don't you? Do you ever think I was one of your failures in math?
I did not. I hadn't planned on teaching math, but in the field I was taking, I had to take a lot of math.
Yes, sir.
And so I came home, and Margaret Bradshaw,
Yes.
she was teaching the 7th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and she resigned in the middle of the year. And they called me in. That's how I got in teaching.
Wow.
I took the 7th grade for the first year. And the superintendent called me and said, "How much math have you had?" I said, "Well, I had higher differential calculus." He said, "That's enough." And that's how I got to teaching math.
Wow. And you taught that all the while you were teaching, right?
Yeah, once I got into math, I stayed in math.
Wow.
I never thought I'd be teaching math. Yeah, I hadn't planned on that.
But that's just the way it was planned out for you.
Yeah, it turned out like that.
And how many children, just a rough estimate, I know you can't, certify. How many children do you feel like you might have had an influence? You know, you've taught and you whose lives you've been in? Thousands and thousands.
Maybe 800.
Thousand?
Yeah, maybe 1,000. Maybe sound better than 800.
Oh, 800,000 or 800, because you've had influence on a lot of children.
That's true.
Yes, and through your life. You taught how many years?
43.
Oh my, that's thousands and thousands of children.
I wasn't teaching all the time, though.
Yes, and you principled how many years?
Yeah, the last 6 years before I retired.
Yes, sir.
And before that, they opened a remedial math program. Kids were having trouble with math.
Yes, sir.
And I was the coordinator for that program for 10 years.
Okay.
And I had teachers in different schools that taught remedial math to a certain group of
Yes.
students. And I had to supervise those teachers.
Oh,
So
yes,
I did
sir.
that for 10 years.
Yes, sir.
And then after 10 years there, then I got to be principal my last 6 years.
Yes, sir.
For the
Wow.
last 16 years, I wasn't teaching.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, sir. Well, you know what?
Supervising,
You gave me my first chance when I signed up to be a substitute teacher. You gave me the first job as a substitute teacher. Sure did.
I say,
Yes, sir. And then I went from there. I got to go to the senior high school, and I think I went to one other school. But you called me first, and I appreciate that. And I was still working at Johnson & Johnson, and I would get off work and then go to the school and stay there, during the day. They go home, get me some sleep, and go back to Johnson & Johnson. That's how I did it. But you gave me the first call when I signed up to be a substitute teacher, and I appreciate that. But the math, I can still do basic math, but I think you had me in, I guess maybe algebra and geometry, I think.
I taught all that.
Yes, sir. And those at Terrell School.
Mm-hmm, right.
Yes, sir. So out of the schools that you taught at and you were worked at, which was your favorite school?
Terrell.
Yes, sir. And when the integration came along, the mandatory, how did you feel about that?
Well, I thought we'd get to see how they acted on the other side, the other people acted, the white people,
Yes,
We hadn't
sir.
been around them too much.
Yes, sir.
I got to get familiar with how they thought and
Yes, sir.
how they acted. And I was glad for integration because we'd been segregated so long, and when they used their books, and they got some new books, then they send the old books to us,
Yes,
Terrell.
yes, sir.
And you see people's names in the books.
Sure
That's
did.
how we knew. And then So I was able to work with teachers over there, you know.
Yes, sir.
I feel good about that.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad you, because I remember even in the 6th grade when they said, we got new books, and then we open up the books and hear all these children's names down the books. And, you know, I've never forgotten that. I talk about that today.
Yeah.
So they say we got new books. We always got the hand-me-downs from the other schools. And the teachers paid. Do you think that you got paid the same as the teachers in the other schools?
Not in the beginning, but Miss Sammy Savage, she was one of the teachers at Terrell. And she put on a suit. She found out we weren't getting paid the same as they were getting. And she put in a suit, and the judge ruled in our favor. And we began to get the same salary they were getting at the other school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. See, I am so excited. I get excited when I do these interviews. So, sometimes I get a little giddy, so I get a little tickled or whatever, because it's so much good information, and I really appreciate it, because I don't know how many of us ever knew that.
Right.
You know, because I never of course knew about it because I was a student. And so oh yes, now I want to go talk about Miss McKnight just a bit, and then we're going to come back to her and go back to you. You remember when she started the track meets? The track meets. You know, they're throughout the whole school. Miss McKnight did that. Do you remember that? We were out at recess one day at Terrell School. And so we were running or something. And she said, Shirley Mae, she said, you sure can run. So I'm going to ask, I think it was Mr. Hardeman at that time, if we can have a track meet. And then we started having track meets at Terrell School. And, you know, we'd go to the stadium, and then we'd have the track meets. And now they still have them, don't they? All over the city.
Yeah, competition between different schools.
Well, Miss McKnight started that. Did you know that? You never thought about that, huh? I know she did for a fact, because she said, I'm going to ask Mr. Hardeman if we. Oh no, who was our coach at that time at Terrell School? Was Mr. Cameron?
No, he wasn't the coach.
Elementary.
Well,
whoever it was, she said, I'm going to ask him if we can have a track meet. And because of her, that's why the track meets are held in Denison today. Because of Mrs. Jewel Adams McKnight. That's a fact. Yes, sir. You never knew it, never thought about it. She started that. And I don't know whether they've ever thought about it or what, but then it took on. You know, they weren't having those before Terrell started. And Terrell started having them. Then we go to the stadium every year and do that. And then it caught on after integration. But that's because of your wife. I remember that. Yes, sir. That's a fact. Yes, sir. And she was a good teacher. But now, I thought about this. You know, I was a fighter. But I wouldn't start the fights, Mr. McKnight. Look, I'm trying to plead my case today. I wouldn't start the fights, but did you and Miss McKnight ever say, did y'all ever have conversations about me?
Yeah, I knew you were a fighter every day after school. Right down on Elm Street, off the campus. Yeah, I remember that.
Did you pray for me?
Yeah, I did pray.
So I guess that girl needs some prayer.
Right.
What did y'all call me? That little Pope girl?
Yeah.
That was so funny. But I wouldn't start the fights. I promise I would not start the fights.
But you finished them.
You remember that time? We were in high school. That was the last fight I had, I think. This lady, what did she say to me? I don't know what she said to me. And we were up against the locker, and you broke us up at senior high school. Do you remember that? You probably don't remember that. I remember all of that stuff. But I thank you for praying for me. So the Lord heard your prayer, and here I am today. Thank the Lord. Now, talking about prayer, when you were young, did your parents take you to church a lot?
Oh, we had to go to church.
Yes,
We
sir.
went to Haven Chapel down on
Haven
the
Chapel.
next corner from Mount Zion.
Yes, sir.
My mother belonged to the Methodist Church.
Oh,
So
okay.
therefore, she sent us, got us ready every Sunday morning. We went down there to the Methodist Church. Daddy went to Hopewell.
Oh.
And whenever we got a chance, Hopewell's a big church, you know.
Yes,
And
sir.
every time we got a chance, I want to go to church with Daddy. We thought that was a treat. Get a chance to go to Hopewell.
Hopewell,
You know, we did
wow.
the Easter program.
Yes, sir.
I sang in the choir down there. And different things, whatever, down there. Haven Chapel.
Yes. Wow. So you were Methodist and Baptist.
No, I wasn't a Baptist. I just got a chance.
Oh, you just got a chance. Oh,
My
so.
dad was Baptist.
Oh,
I
yes,
just
sir.
get a chance- Every once in a while, I'd get a chance to go to church with him.
Yes, sir. Well, back then was Hopewell like, were the people like the sophisticated people?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
sophisticated church.
The big wigs, huh?
Yeah, right.
So they used to have like crowds of people, you know, big membership and all that, huh?
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's good. So did you ever did it ever come into your mind at any time that you would be in the Holiness Church?
No, the way that happened, see, I was drafted to the Navy.
Yes, sir.
I put 1 year in college, and then I started my second year. Before the first semester was over,
Mm-hmm.
I got my papers from Uncle Sam to report to be elected into the Navy.
Yes, sir.
All right, while I was in the Navy in California,
Mm-hmm.
I met two more fellas on the troop train while we were going, and I said, I don't want to get with the wrong group because I don't know any of these fellas here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Lord, I'm going to give my life to you because I don't want to get with the wrong group.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard two other guys. One was say he was a preacher, and the other was a holiness little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I heard them over there talking. So I kind of eased over with them, and we stayed together. And we go to town. When we did find a way to get to Oakland, to church, all three of us would go to town, and all three of us would go to the Methodist church since I was Methodist. We go to the Methodist church. Then after Sunday school, we leave the Methodist church, we go to the Baptist church because the preacher was a Baptist, and then Holy service was 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
So we'd all go
All three of them. Wow.
Yeah, so I hadn't been around holiness. I didn't know anything about it. And so one day I was walking down the street on 7th Street in Oakland, California, and I passed by a little storefront church on the corner, and I said, maybe I'll go in there and see what they're doing. And I went in there, and there was a holiness church, and they were shouting. And I said, they got something I don't have. I want some of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And one family there just kind of took me in, and they lived in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
In Alameda, California. Had to ride the bus from Oakland to Alameda.
Yes.
And they said, well, whenever you able to come to town, well, you come to our house. And they had a son about my age, and he had double beds in his room.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed with him, and then go to church, and back in church whenever I get to town from the base. And so I wanted the Holy Ghost bad. I said, Lord, I should have went out fast 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, give me the Holy Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day I went to town, went out to their house, and 2 or 3 women were sitting in there, and one of the women said, let's pray. Let's pray. And so they got onto that chair, and I got onto my chair, and we started praying. All of a sudden, I started speaking in tongues.
My.
Oh, I was so happy. Couldn't wait to get to church so I could testify. Saved, sanctified, baptized, the Holy Ghost and fire.
That's right. Oh my goodness. And that's been how many years?
1940, 44.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when I came home, well then, since I'd been to the Holiness Church, then I started going to the Holiness Church down there, you know, we're located down on Washington Street.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me to work teaching and whatnot. And then while I was in college, I got to be superintendent of Sunday school in college Sunday school.
Wow.
So when I just worked in the religious field
Yes.
all my days.
All your days.
So that's how I got in the Holy Church back in Oakland, California.
Yes, sir. So when the church was on Washington,
Yeah.
oh, you're talking about St. Emmanuel? Oh, you talking?
St.
Okay.
Emmanuel,
Yes, sir.
Washington.
Yes, sir. So it was down this way?
At the end of Washington Street, down there where the highway is.
Yes, sir.
Well, the highway wasn't there.
Yes, sir.
So we had a church down there, and the highway department bought our property.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him, said, well, if we're going to tear the church down, it's all right if we use some of the lumber
Mm-hmm.
to build this church up here.
Okay.
And they told us, yeah. So the men would get out there, and we pull nails out of the boards and stack the boards, and the women would bring some food down for us to eat while we were working. And some of the wood in this church up here now came from
down there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's still strong.
Yeah.
Holding up. So who was the pastor?
Ella Littlefield.
So he was a pastor down there too?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then he came on up to Washington. What is, oh gosh, 8? What is the address? St. Emmanuel?
Yeah, it's 831.
831. That's Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
Yes, sir.
831 Washington.
So you've been there all your holy life.
Yeah.
Yes,
A few
sir.
years ago, we celebrated 100th. St. Emmanuel was 100 years old.
Wow.
And they said, how many years had you been a member of St. Emmanuel? I said, let me see. 68 years out of 100.
68 years. My goodness.
And once I got in the church, I enjoyed it. And the Lord blessed me. And I'd leave and go to school. You know, and then I come back during the summer when I was home. I'd get to worship down there.
Yes, sir.
Until I finished school.
So how did your parents feel about that?
Well, my dad had said, he and his brother used to visit the Holy Church. They didn't get in there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They just got on there. And so I was staying at home. I had a room there while I was working,
Mm-hmm.
teaching. You know, so he said, why don't you get out and go somewhere? I said, I don't want to go out there with all them devils. He said, well, you can't have no influence on staying in this room.
Mm-hmm. You can't have what?
An influence on the other people.
Oh,
Getting saved.
okay,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah. So I started, and then the kids at school, they found out I was holding this church, and we didn't have air conditioning, so they let up all the windows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And people and some of the kids said, we going out there and see Brother McKnight do the Watusi. Because I did a lot of dancing and shouting back in those days when I was young.
They call it the Watusi.
Outside the church and look in the windows, you know.
Go down to see you do the Watusi,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was shouting, dancing, speaking in tongues, and all that.
Having a wonderful time in the
Yeah.
Lord. Still speaking in tongues. And
Right.
do you ever strut a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, still doing your dance. Ooh, it's nothing like it. Nothing like it. And okay, now I want to go and talk about Sister McKnight
Yeah.
and how you met.
Yeah. All right. After I was in the Navy, I came back to college, and she was in college at that time. And so I finished up all my studies the middle of the year, because they pulled me out after 1 year, in the middle of the year. So I just started that second year over.
Okay.
And she was there. I hadn't seen her. I said, Lord, I'm saved, and I want a saved wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had dining hall. They had 3 sections of dining hall where all the students ate. And they had waiters. They give kids jobs, waiting tables.
Mm-hmm.
They had big trays. They'd go back in the kitchen and get little trays and bring them to the table and put them on the table where people sit on certain tables. So I was over that section. And then I'd open the door and let all the rest of the students in to eat. And when they go out, I'd lock the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ones that were working, they had to sit at the table for the next meal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was standing at the door one day. I hadn't seen her. And I sat at the door one day, and she said, she stopped. She said, I've been thinking, I saw that boy down in Waco at the convocation. And so she stopped me. She said, didn't I see you in Waco at the Holy Convocation, church convocation? Yeah. Yeah. I said, yeah, I want to talk with you. Yeah, she was down there and I was down there. I thought she was going to go to the church. And that's how we met.
Wow.
God just brought her to me.
Yes.
I hadn't seen her. And we started talking from then on. I'd go to school year round because the government was paying my schooling.
Yes.
And she'd go to school in the summer, go home in the summer. She lived in Houston. And she worked in the summer at home. So I met one or two other girls, you know. The girls stayed on one side of the campus, boys, dormitories on the other side of the campus. All the time we had to get together was when after a meal. They give you about 30 minutes after a meal. Then they ring the bell. The girls go to that side of the campus, and the boys go to that side of the campus. About the only time you had to kind of talk.
Yes, sir.
And so and she was shy and didn't say too much. And I'd ask her a question, what about this? Trying to get a conversation started. And she wouldn't keep the conversation started. Yeah, but when we graduated, we marched in the same graduating class from college.
Okay.
And she went to Houston. I came up and got this job. And she tried to get a job teaching in Houston. She hadn't found one. All right, so we write letters back and forth. And so I told her, I said, we get married. And, so we got married. I was teaching summer school. And so the next day was the 19th of June. I told the student, don't come back. I won't be here. I caught the train in Denison, rode all the way to Houston overnight. Because you rode to Katy from here to Dallas, and you had a layover to catch the Southern Pacific to go on down the Prairie View. And so I rode all night, got to Houston next morning. She'd already contacted the pastor, the preacher, to do the marriage ceremony. And so I said, well, we need some flowers. And I said, well, today's Sunday, so I don't guess for all the flowers closed. So we found one, 7-day Adventist.
Wow.
We went and got a few flowers. Okay, we went on to the church. And after Sunday school, that little intermission you have between closing Sunday school and
Yes, sir.
well, we walked, my brother with me and her sister with her. We walked in the back, walked on down the aisle, walked up to the roster, and the preacher she'd gotten, we said our marriage vows, and then we walked on out and they started church.
Just that quick.
Yeah.
About 5 minutes, 10 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the marriage. And then that night, we were going to come back to Denison. So then that night we caught the train after we got married, rode all night coming back to Denison. Got back to Denison about 12 o'clock the next day.
Wow.
Raymond and Ernestine, they were teachers.
The Carruthers.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they lived over on that side of town. And they said, well, they will be on the house up on Morton Street. And they said, well, when they finish our house, well, then y'all can have the house, but you can stay with us until we finish our house. So they gave us the front bedroom and they had the back bedroom. And we stayed with them until they finished their house. They moved out of it. Then we had the house for about 2 years. I said, well, if they can build a house, I can build it. Since I'm a veteran, I can get a GI loan. I got a GI loan, and they built this house. This was the back door.
Oh.
And they built this house here for $5,200. And we paid $27 a month till we got it paid off.
Amazing.
I brought my wife into a brand new home.
My goodness.
Yes.
So that part right there was the whole house at that time?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We added this back in here.
Yes, sir.
1964.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Amazing. This is wonderful, wonderful. And so
she got on substitute teaching. She had substitute teaching for about a year before she got on regular. And then finally she got on regular after substituting for a while. And then both of us were working.
Wow. As teachers at Turl School. And then, gosh, you stayed there so many years, and then the integration came. Then she went to senior high school. Or did she go to McDaniel first?
McDaniel,
she went to McDaniel first, and then to senior high. Wow, that's quite history. This is very precious. That's why I know that is why God told me to do this and do these interviews, because it's so much precious history. And just like me, I was one of your students, but a lot of things I just don't know about you, and a lot of people, just like me, many people don't know all of this good information, this good history. Just like the suit that Miss Savage brought for equal pay, and that was back in the years? The 50s, maybe 60s?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yes, sir. Back then. That's amazing. Wow.
Because I started teaching at Fitzgerald in 1948.
Yes, sir.
That's when I graduated from college.
1948.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now we'll go to, let's see. Well, you have two children, Pam and Ben. Pam and Ben. Ben is her husband. Pam is Stevie.
Yeah.
And so Pam and I, Pam's probably a year or two younger than me, right? Because I was born in,
Pam got a birthday on the 28th. I think she'll be 64.
Okay.
63 or 64.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I forgot where she's born.
I remember when Pam came to Turl School.
Yeah.
I think we might have been in the 2nd or 3rd grade. But Pam skipped. I know she skipped the 1st grade.
Yeah.
Did she skip the 2nd too?
No.
Okay, she skipped the 1st, and she ended up in our class. Sure did. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was
her mother taught her,
Yes, sir.
Her mother was a teacher. So
yes, sir.
Teach at home.
Because that was a big thing with us, big news. She's so smart. She skipped the 1st grade. It came right on in there. So we were classmates all through the year. Now, when the first house, when you and Sister McKnight came, the first in your first house, where was that located? The first house, your first home. You stayed 2 years. Where was that located? I mean, it was here in Denison, but what street was that on?
Oh, gosh.
Johnson, Walker, or was it in this part of town?
Got the name. You get this old, you forget.
Well, that's all right. You got so much other on your mind from way back then. So, Turl School, then you did the remedial, right? And then you were principal. And what was that school? Was it Hyde Park? What was the school you were principal at?
I was at Hyde Park.
Hyde Park. I thought it was Hyde Park. And
I was the first black principal.
Yes, sir.
Since integration.
Yes, sir.
We never had a black principal.
The first one. And you were also on the city council.
First city council.
First city councilman. Yes, sir. Yeah. First black city council person. And you were on there. How many terms did you were you on there? How many terms did you serve? 2.
4 years.
Yes.
Had 2-year terms.
Yes.
I finished my first, then I had to run for the second term, and I was elected for the second 2 years.
Yes, sir.
I put 4 years on it.
4 years. So how was that a good experience? Was it kind of?
Yeah, it really was a new experience for me because.
Yes, sir.
Politics and things like that, I hadn't been thought about that too much. But I learned a lot.
Yes, sir.
Voting and passing and discussing it. I had the campaign. I went downtown with it. I talked to different ones about running for city council, place 4. And I said, me see. My slogan was, I don't know.
Your slogan, we'll get it later. Yes, I'm gonna follow it. I like all your teddy bears.
It's about all representatives. All of us are represented.
Oh, okay.
Me being black on there, that means everybody was represented.
Everybody represent. Yes, sir. That's a good one. We're all representatives.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And you got those 2 terms. And so, did you just decide? Well, I've done 2, and I won't try to run anymore. Or was that a?
Yeah, that was a limited.
Oh, okay.
That was a limited at that time.
Yes, sir. So, do you feel that you got some things accomplished as being the representative for it was 4?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like you got some things accomplished for, things that you had in mind?
Yes. Yes. Let's see what did it accomplish. Yeah, some things were done while I was on the city council.
Yes,
I had
sir.
some influence on them.
Yes, sir.
I
That's
don't think what it was.
yes, sir. But that's good. But it was a learning experience,
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
And you paved the way for. Let me see.
Yeah, ever since I've been on there,
We've had a representative.
Ever since.
Because I think Dorothy was on there, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And Billy
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else. Was that it?
Douglas, yeah.
Who was it?
Douglas' wife.
Douglas. Yes, sir. But that was good. Douglas. I'm trying to think of Douglas.
He was, when he first started teaching me, he was teaching the remedial math program that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And he got off and started working for the railroad. He got to be an engineer on the railroad.
Okay.
Making a lot more money. He's still doing that. But his wife was the one that was on the city council.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to think of.
No, you probably don't.
I don't know. But then that was good because we were so proud. We were so proud. You remember when Mama ran?
Yes.
She ran for city council. She didn't get elected, but she ran many years ago, and she was running. Another young man of our persuasion was running against her, and I don't think he got elected either.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. But she ran one time.
Yeah.
They interviewed her on Channel 12, and they went there and they had a debate. They had. Do you remember that?
No.
When you think about it, it'll come back to you because it's so much. I know these are cold questions and I'm asking. Yes, sir. But like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time and letting me come up here and do this. Now, Pam is a teacher also, right? She's a professor.
She was the head of the counseling department out there at Grayson County College.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then she, when your age plus the number of years you worked in the teaching profession,
Mm-hmm.
they add up to a certain number,
Mm-hmm.
then you can retire.
Okay.
So Pam's age and her years of experience added up to a certain number, so she retired from Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
She began to draw teacher retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And then Southeastern, they were looking for someone
Mm-hmm.
to go around to the various organizations and tell people who don't go to college the possibility that they could go to college.
Mm-hmm.
There was some funds they could get. And
Yes.
so she did that. And Southeastern paid her for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she worked with Southeastern. And then Grayson County College got a grant of money
Mm-hmm.
to open a new program.
Mm-hmm.
They put her as the head of that new program. That's what she's
Wow.
working on.
Wow. Valuable. Valuable. Yes, and Stevie.
Yeah, he's working at. He worked for Goodwill,
Okay.
and now he's working for. I forget the name of the thing.
Yes, sir.
But he has so many clients.
Mine.
He has to go and check on in various nursing homes, in
Mhm.
Gainesville, and Collinsville, and
Wow.
he has to go and check on them. Our program supplies certain needs for the patients
Okay.
to see if they need anything.
Yes.
And he has to go visit, and he has to talk to the nurse and the people in the facility about that patient. Talk to the patient, and he has to go type it up. And he has to see each one of those patients once a month.
Wow.
And so now he has 39 people he has to see in a month. Some places he has 2 or 3 patients. He said he goes into the room, but some of them can half talk, and he try to find out about them. So you can write it up when you go back to the office.
So it's just like the welfare of the sick, making sure that they're taken care of and everything.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is
He runs into
wonderful.
all kind of people.
Yes, sir.
Some can talk, and some won't talk. He said he's supposed to maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes in talking to them, but some of them just he try to think of something to say, and they don't want to say.
Yes, sir. Sometimes people, just
He
don't.
runs all types.
All types, yes, sir. But evidently he's good at what he does. Yes, sir.
He majored in psychology, so he can use some of his psychology.
Yes, sir.
With these people, different people.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now we're going to go to St. Emmanuel. You've been there since 48, right? 48. And I know you're deacon, and you're our Sunday school superintendent. When I was there, you still superintendent?
Yeah, I teach the men's Bible class in Sunday school.
And teach the men's Bible class in Sunday school. And then you're also YPWW.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I teach YPWW teacher.
Yes,
I
sir.
teach Wednesday night. See, we used to have YPWW on Sunday afternoon. See, if I teach Sunday school, then I had to teach again in the evening. Well, I had to prepare 2 lessons. So the pastor finally said, well, he reorganized, and so what they do, on Monday nights, they have a mission, and then after mission, from 5 to 6, well, then the pastoral teaching, pastor started teaching from the book of Matthew, different chapters. All right, and then they moved to YPW after prayer and Bible
Bible
band. They're from 5 to 6, and then at 6 o'clock, YPWW from 6 to 7.
Okay.
So I was looking, trying to get my YPWW
lesson together.
Sword of the Spirit.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
This is about the shield of faith.
Yes, sir.
I was trying to get that together for tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
I said, let me get that together.
Yes, sir. And so, St. Emmanuel, you have been, how many pastors have you been under since you've been at St. Emmanuel?
See,
I know there's a Littlefield.
See, Littlefield. Then after Littlefield was Elder Haynes.
Okay.
Then after Elder Haynes was Elder Simpkins. And then after Elder Simpkins was
Alexander.
Pastor Alexander. Yeah, Pastor Alexander's pastor we got now.
Pope. So that's 5.
Yeah.
So you've seen some history in St. Emmanuel and some transitions and transformations and everything there. You're still there by the grace of God, and I know that the pastors are very happy to have someone that they can really depend on. You being the deacon and being a well, I don't know whether you're a trustee, but you are a trustee.
I just got the trustee board organized.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For the first time, really organized.
Yes, sir.
They had people's names there, but as far as being organized and tended to business,
yes,
reviewing the money spent and where it went, and things like that.
Finally got it in order, huh?
Well, Pam's husband is the chairman of the trustee board.
Okay.
We just met a couple of days ago.
Yes, sir. That's all right. So, out of all of the people that have come through St. Emmanuel, and there have been thousands, but But there's a history with, did St. Emmanuel and Ariella used to be the same church?
Yeah, I heard that they were.
Okay, that was before you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then
They
they.
kind of split up.
Yes, sir.
Got a coffee and had a little feel of somebody. It's also had a little difference there. Huh?
Uh-huh.
They kind of split up.
Mhm.
That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm. But then one thing we have to realize that nothing happens unless God allows.
That's the truth.
And so, and then it's just like, people have their preferences. And so then God had two holiness churches in Denison, so people could decide which one they want to and yet be saved. That's amazing.
Right.
That is amazing how he has all of us in the plan before we're even conceived. And then he knows everything that's going to take place. He knows the results before the results come in our lives. And then he sees fit, and lets our lives play out.
Right.
And then, of course, giving us a choice. And I went to Ariel at first, and then I went to St. Emmanuel. And then that's when I left St. Emmanuel and ended up at Greater Gospel Temple. And so I've had both sides, and both of them, the Lord saved me and kept me saved. And I'm so thankful for that. And then you and Sister McKnight have been great influences in my life. You are always the same. You are saved. You are a light to the community. I mean, it's just wonderful. And I really appreciate that, because with watching you and her and Sister Price, and then I used to see Mother, was it Mother Dinkins? It was one lady used to walk, and she would have on her white, and she would be going down to St. Emmanuel. I would see her when she was going to church, and that always stayed in my mind, like during the weekday. And then we remember when we were children, Mom and Daddy used to let us come there on Easter. We'd go to St. Emmanuel on Easter, and we'd take part in the Easter program. But I never realized that I would be a part of St. Emmanuel. But I am so glad that God took me the way that he did and brought me into holiness. But you and Sister McKnight, the lives you lived influenced me. Yes, sir. You were prime examples, and you always were. And I remember when the Lord gave me to have a You Can convention, and we had it at Hopewell. You remember? And you and Sister McKnight came that day and taught classes for me. And we talked about marriage. We talked about abuse, spousal, and all of that. And we learned a lot. Pam taught that day. Down at Hopewell, Pastor Evans let us use Hopewell that day for a You Can convention. It's been some years ago, but you and Sister McKnight and Pam came and helped me out. And I remember Sister McKnight telling us the story about the two young men that were she taught at the high school, and she was talking about how, children, you never know what people are going through. And she was talking about these two boys, and they look kind of rough in school. Sometimes, look disheveled and everything. And then after some investigation, this was during that we found these things out, that they had been sleeping in the car, and because their mother had been entertaining men in the house. And so on that subject, did you ever have to intervene during your time in the school system for children, on behalf of children? Did you ever have to do any like reporting of suspicious, home life or anything like that?
No. Sometimes parents came up there and the little boy just talked ugly to his parents, And I said, well, a little boy talking to his parents like that. And then I had a guy substitute. When the teacher's out, you had to start calling about 6:30 in the morning to try to get somebody on the substitute list. And you call this one and say, I'm already called. Wow. One time I had to go into class and teach myself.
Well, and now being a teacher, I know you noticed a lot of things, you know, and sometimes I know you could tell if the children were going through problems and things like that. So mostly, probably all you could do was just pray for them, huh? Pray for them.
I had one boy who went to school there, and he died.
Mm.
And we had to go to his funeral. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
That's the biggest thing I remember.
the biggest thing you can remember, heartbreaking things, but yet it was rewarding because you were able to influence so many children. And that really, really makes a difference. Just like I said, you know, you were such a great influence on me, you and Sister McKnight. And I am going to wrap this up, but I just wanted to, the greatest joy in your life. What is the greatest joy in your life?
Let's see.
Naturally and spiritually. I know about this.
I guess when I got married,
Yes, sir.
married a saved wife.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I wanted.
Yes, sir.
And God gave it to me.
He surely did. Just like you asked her for.
Yeah, right.
Yes, sir. And it lasted for
I
how?
didn't choose her. She walked up to me. She just brought it right to me.
That's amazing. And so you were married how many years?
58.
58 years. 58 years. And I know that's a transition for you, but God has sustained you, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do some like your awards and things. I would like to take some video of those and some things. Is there anything I would like for you to talk to the people? And what would you say to the people today? What is your message to the world?
My message to the world is that once you get in an organization and once you do something, put all you got into it. Mm-hmm. Not half time, and dedicate yourself fully. Mm-hmm. And when I got saved, I said, I'm not going to play with being saved. If I'm going to be saved, I'm going to be saved all the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so be sure that give your life to the Lord first.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He will direct your path.
Mm-hmm.
In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your
Mm-hmm.
path. Because He certainly has directed my path
Mm-hmm.
all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then always be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I joined a lot of white organization clubs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I realize that those people, they try to put us all in the same class. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's just black. You know how those blacks act.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I said, no, I'm going to get in there with them and show them how I can act just as respectful as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And so one lady in the Kiwanis Club, she said, before you got in this club, I hated blacks.
Mm.
So I worked with Johnson & Johnson, and I had a black guy that was the boss of me, and he just stayed on my case all the time. And said I also, when they burned the courthouse in Sherman, burned the black man in there, said I was in the crowd then when that happened.
Mm.
Said, but since you've been here, you changed my mind about black people.
Mm.
And that's why I joined a lot of organizations. And sure, I can be just as intelligent as they are.
Yes, sir. And let them.
Don't put all blacks in the same category.
Yes, sir.
You know, just because I'm black, I'm intelligent as they are.
Yes, sir.
And I talk intelligent, and I act intelligent. Mm-hmm. And they accept me. When I'm not there, they worry about me. Mm-hmm. If I can't come, they send somebody to pick me up.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
They really accepted me. I carried myself in that way.
Yes, sir.
And I was president of Kiwanis Club twice.
Wow.
2 years.
That's all right. So are the Kiwanis? Oh, excuse me.
The Gideons.
That was my next question. Yes, the Gideons.
I've been in the Gideons about 30 years.
Yes, sir.
And we squashed go out to the college and little testaments, reading testaments. Well, several of us Gideons would go out there and we station ourselves in different, and when the student passed by going to class, we offer them a testament. We gave out hundreds every year. We did that for years.
For years. And we don't want to forget about the Boy
I
Scouts.
went to various churches, various white churches,
Yes.
to give a Gideon talk,
Mm-hmm.
and then they take up an offering to buy Bibles.
Okay.
The churches supplied the money for the Bible. We just distributed them.
Yes, sir. And what was the Gideon message? What was their main message?
It's all the Bibles for the world.
Okay.
All the Bibles for the world.
So their mission was to make sure that the world got Bibles.
Yes,
Yes, sir. And so the Boy Scouts, we cannot leave that out.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So you were Boy Scout. Well, what do you call it? A master. What do you call the head of the Boy Scout? Scoutmaster.
Scoutmaster.
For how many years?
About 30.
About 30 years. I know you had my son and my nephew in there, Michael, and I will never ever forget. They were at a camp way away. What was that camp?
Camp Texoma.
And Michael got sick.
Summer camp, yeah.
Yes, sir. And you called me and came and picked me up and drove me up there. And we got Michael and brought him back home. And that was a long trip, too.
Yeah.
You remember that, don't you?
Yeah.
That was a long trip. I have never forgotten that. You told Michael sick. And so you came. And it was like nighttime, too, wasn't it? Sure did. Came, got me, and took me up there, got my baby, and brought us on back home.
Yeah.
And he talks about the Boy Scouts. He still, remembers the Boy Scouts. As a matter of fact, he was talking the other day about the Boy Scouts. That was quite an experience for him. Quite an experience. And the only thing is he had started working on his Eagle Scout, and he didn't finish it. And that's one thing. I don't know whether at his age he could finish it. I think they had a certain time, didn't they, that they could finish it. And I'm just wondering if maybe we could get when he sees this, he's gonna probably be making faces for saying this. But that's one thing I wanted him to be able to get his Eagle Scout, but he didn't get to finish it. So I'm wondering if they're like the organization has special, special way that maybe even older people can earn that.
I don't know, but they got plenty of scholars in Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Council office. You can check with him.
Check with him and see, yes, sir. And he hasn't said this to me, but I'm just wondering, because that's one thing I've always, there are things that some of us have regrets of like things that we would have wanted to accomplish that we didn't. Well, and speaking of regrets, do you have any regrets about anything? Is there something that you want to do that you're still working toward, and then something that you wanted to do that you might feel like you might not get to do?
Take a little time to think of that.
Yes, sir. Because you got saved, you got your marriage, and those were fantastic. And you said you didn't desire, you never thought you'd be a teacher, but that's the way the Lord worked it out.
I thought if I was a teacher, I was going to teach sharp, like Mr. Milligan.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I figured I would do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, were there any, while you were at Turl School, were there any people that you felt like you wanted to have more influence on, input in their lives, and you didn't get to for the sake of time reasons or something like that? Is there any one student, and you don't have to mention their name, that ever really stood out to you that you kind of wanted to help more? Have you ever had any thoughts about anything like that?
I can't pinpoint.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But this is the greatest experience of my life, though.
Yes, sir.
I was in the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
and I got saved when I was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We stayed at one base, and they put us to work, and we had to change the linen on the beds of the officers,
Mm-hmm.
quarters, and we did all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wanted to send me to another base.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to work in the officers' club.
Okay.
Officers' club.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you just serve whiskey, mix drinks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I told the officer, I said, no, I can't do that. I said, I don't drink. You know, if I think something bad on you, and you don't take it, why would you want to serve it to somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
and officer said, young man, telling me what you're not going to do. That you butting your head against a stone wall.
Hmm.
He said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you in solitary confinement on bread and water for 5 days. 5 days on bread and water.
Hmm.
Okay, that's fine with me. I thought, he said, why didn't you tell us that when you first came in? And I said, I wasn't saved. But I'm saved now. That just makes a difference. So they put me in a little closet-like thing. It had a bunk in there. They had outside. Other guys had done everything, other things. They were now out of area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a little cup hole in the wall.
Mm.
You had a door to it and a cot in there.
Mm-hmm.
And when they let all these others go to the shower hall to eat, then they let me out
Mm-hmm.
to go to the restroom. They'd have a plate of biscuit and cornbread, something for me to eat. I said, well, I'm going to stay in here. And God delivered Daniel from the lion's den.
Mm-hmm.
He grew children from the fire furnace. I know God's going to deliver me.
Yes.
So for 5 days and 6 nights, I didn't take a sip of water. I didn't eat a piece of bread. So I guess they said, we're going to let him out or he's going to die. they let me out. And the guy took me up there to pick up all my gear and stuff. I didn't realize that week, but I had been doing it. I couldn't carry. He had to carry for me. They always said when you're going along fast, don't stuff your stomach with food.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I heard him say that in church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I they had a little canteen there. I went and got me some soup and some milk. It felt pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I fooled around. I said, I believe I'll go up to the chow hall. I haven't been up there in a pretty good while.
Mm-hmm.
I went up to the chow hall, saw something that looked good, and ate some of it. Boy, I paid for it.
My
I
goodness.
got the diarrhea that night. I was up and out of the bed, running to the restroom all night long.
My
They
goodness.
told me, I said, well, that's my fault.
You knew, didn't
I
you?
knew better, and I didn't do it. So I paid for it.
Paid for it.
And so then they decided there was something wrong with my mind. He must be something wrong with his mind. So they put me in a special group, hospital-like thing. And I try to help the other guys really bad shape, you know, show them I wasn't nothing wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they kept me in there for a while, and then they let the fellas go upstairs to the picture show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to the picture show.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, well, we'll take you, while they're gone, we'll take you upstairs. And it's upstairs, some of those guys that were really bad been off.
Mm.
I was kind of scared.
Mm-hmm.
Because one guy went and just put his hand right through the window pane.
Mm.
And some of them just said, wrapped up. And I tried to stay away from them.
Mm.
But I never go to the show. Because they taught about going to the show.
Mm.
They taught about everything was wrong, you know.
Mm.
And I was trying to do right. Keep
Trying
up
to do right.
with what they taught.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring me back down there.
Mm-hmm.
After they brought them back down, and then they finally sent me to put me on a plane with some more guys on stretchers, strapped us to the side of the plane, and flew us to Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to Fort Worth, well, I was still prisoner-like, but we had to line up to go to chow and whatnot. And they gave me a job working in the laundry on a machine pressing shirts.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to Fort Worth, I was close enough so my family could come on visiting days, come down there to see me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went all through that because I refused
To serve in the.
to go to a nightclub. No.
So how long did this process go on?
That went on about maybe 6 months.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So you were persecuted.
Yeah, well.
My goodness.
So when they gave me a discharge, I figured they'd probably give me a dishonorable discharge, you know. But they didn't. They gave me a job, a discharge, they said, with honorable mention.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, but was it because you would not serve that they discharged you, or was your time up?
Now, they thought I had mental problems.
Oh, and they discharged you because they thought you.
Yeah.
My goodness. My goodness.
Yeah, after all of that, I went on back to college and finished college. They came on here to talk school.
And still, what they say, clothed and in your right mind. How many years later? 50 years later, probably. Yes. God knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah, then I came to college, and I'd go to Sunday school, and I would talk, and I was saved then when I came back to college.
Yes.
They elected me superintendent of Sunday school, and the college minister. I got to be friends with him. Everybody had to go to chapel on
Yes.
Sunday, you know. If you did, they gave you demerits or something.
Oh.
So he let me help him with the services on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He put on his black robe, and I put on my black robe.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on the stage, and I'd give the call to order sometime, and sometime I'd read the scripture before he preached.
Mm-hmm. My
Then I got
goodness.
to be superintendent of Sunday school when I was in college. So God just worked things out for me all the way through.
Yes, he did. So going back, before the discharge, how much more time did you have left, normal time in the Navy?
No, see, the war was going on.
Mm-hmm.
See, the war ended in 45.
Yes, sir.
And so I went in 43.
Mm-hmm.
And since the war ended in 45, well, I guess it started cutting me back on the forces, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The war was over.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me a ticket. I got on the bus in Fort Worth and rode the bus home.
On home. Well, did your family get to come up and see you? Were you up there long enough? I mean, well, in Fort Worth.
Yeah, they came for several times.
Yes, sir. So what did they have to say about this? Because they knew you were not mentally ill. So did they feel helpless or what?
Yeah.
Felt helpless, huh?
They were just glad to see me. I was there where they could visit me.
Yes, sir.
So like I said, if I'm going to be saved, I'm going to be saved all the way.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to let anything stop me from being saved.
Yes, sir.
And, I'd rather take punishment. What the scripture said, he that will live godly shall suffer persecution.
Shall suffer persecution. And that was really persecution.
Yeah, right.
My goodness.
But it didn't bother me.
Yes, sir.
You
You made it through too, didn't you?
So God was pleased with me. I was doing what God would have me to do.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean,
Yes, sir. So I'm going to ask you this. So I know they said we don't play. Back then they were saying no marbles, no movies.
yeah.
And then they even taught against television too, didn't they? Some people. Because they didn't even used to call it the one-eyed monster, a devil or something.
Yeah, we had I got married. We didn't have a television. And one of the butlers, Brother Butler,
Mm-hmm.
he belonged to the Holiness Church.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked against television.
Mm-hmm.
He said, No, I don't think it's ain't on to have a television.
Mm-hmm.
You have all kind of junk on television. And I debated that, and I debated that. I used to debate that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I made up my mind to go and get a television.
Uh-huh.
But I wrestled with that for a long time.
For a long time. There, I can imagine. Yes, sir. Now, what about the movie? Did you ever go to a movie? Since you've been saved, have you ever been to one?
I don't think I not
Yes.
an ordinary movie.
Yes, sir.
If it was, it was.
But you look at it differently now because the Lord brought you into the knowledge of, the things that are good for you and that are not. And I guess it's a personal thing also, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it just depends on what a person can handle.
That's right.
Yes, sir. I believe that too. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. I know things just keep coming into my mind to ask you, but you've given your message to the world on the things that you would like for them to do, and most of all, that message is give yourself to the Lord. And there's there's one of your sayings that I remember from Saint Emmanuel, and I was saying this to one of the sisters the other day. There's this famous saying. You say you might get by, but you won't get away. Might get by, but you won't get away. So you want to sum that up for me, please? Sum that saying up for me, please. You might get by, but you won't get away. I know you gave your message to the world, said, give your life to the Lord. But in essence, what you're saying in that message is that
You may get things. There are consequences. There are consequences to sin it and doing wrong. So you look like you're enjoying yourself and you're doing things you're not supposed to do. But payday is coming after a while.
Coming after a while.
Payday's always coming. You're going to suffer the consequence for disobeying God.
Disobeying God. My goodness. That's wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and cut the camera off. You've endured me for an hour. Well, over an hour. So I'm going to cut the camera off right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Professor, I almost said elder, which you are, really, Deacon Deacon McKnight. And your name is what, Drewy?
D-R-E-W-E-Y.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's name, I'm named after my dad, so I'm a junior.
Okay. What's your middle name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Okay. I was thinking David. It's Drewy Daniel McKnight Jr. Okay. God bless you. Wow. Let me go up and down it. And then let me tell stories entertain the class.